Yo, what is up guys, this is TyrannixSwine here, and welcome to an expansion on my Halo 4 review video. Now this video is going to be about what the game did right, mainly, in my opinion. Because I wanted to expand a little bit upon my review, so to give you a much more clearer understanding. So let's get into it. So, the main thing that Halo 4 did right, in my opinion, is the story. Now the story is, compared to the other Halo games, there is a lot more emotion to it. Because really in the first three Halo games, all you're doing is you're just running around, killing enemies, and then completing an objective. And that's pretty much the course of all the first three Halo games. I mean, Halo 3 there's a little bit more to it, but it's still kind of the same thing. With Halo 4, you get to experience a more emotional connection between the Master Chief and Cortana to show that there's more to who they are than what looks to the eye. And I really like that about this game, because it really does show that the Master Chief isn't really just a machine used for battle. He is a human, as you need to remember, since he was augmented when he was a child. And that's what I liked about this game, because it reminds you that that there actually is a heart inside of him. And the fact that Cortana, who's on the verge of rampancy and on the edge of dying, is also starting to reveal emotions too. Like, she doesn't want to die, really, because she believes she can last longer in some sort of way. And you see the relationship between the two of them, because they've been together since the very beginning of this whole entire situation, and you realize that these two are more than just friends at this point. They are people who are sworn to protect each other, and that is what I really do like about the story, because it really does show the emotional side between these characters. A lot more than what the other Halos have done in the past. And plus it does introduce some new characters in this game that were pretty decent, but not as good as the characters that they replaced, like Palmer and Lasky. Yeah, they were alright characters, but they weren't as good as Johnson or Miranda Keyes. But at least it did also produce an arsehole character that is gonna make me hate them forever, which is Del Rio, who is practically my most hated character of the entire franchise at this point. But other than Del Rio being a complete and utter arsehole, the story is pretty damn good compared to the other Halo games. The next thing that Halo 4 did right was the expansion of the story in Spartan Ops. Now yes, Spartan Ops is a bit of a controversial object in Halo 4, but the one thing that Spartan Ops did right is that it actually expanded upon the story in Halo 4. It's set 6 months after the events of Halo 4, and it actually gives you a lot more background on the characters that you see in the campaign, and even new characters that are even kind of likable. And it even introduces probably the best villain I've seen in the Halo games, and that is Julian Dharma. But sadly his usefulness is cut short after this game, sadly enough, but nonetheless he was still a good villain while he was still fresh in our minds after Spartan Ops. Well, Spartan Ops did actually do a good job of expanding the story in Halo 4 and giving us something that could have been used in Halo 5 Guardians, like for example the whole thing that happened with Dr. Halsey in Spartan Ops, which was never really used, annoyingly enough. But at the end of Halo 4 Spartan Ops, it gives you something that could have happened in Halo 5 Guardians, because of what happens to Halsey in it. And it was very interesting to see what would happen when Halsey would eventually return with Julian Dharma and the Storm. Sadly that never happens, and Spartan Ops' story is just a painful reminder of what could have been in Halo 5 Guardians. But at the time of Halo 4's release, Spartan Ops storyline was actually pretty good. It was a pretty good expansion upon the Halo 4 main campaign storyline, and it gave us a bit more knowledge on the characters that were in Spartan Ops. But other than that, Spartan Ops' expansion of story was actually pretty good. Now, the next thing Halo 4 did right was it improved upon the mechanics from Halo Reach. Now, yes, Halo Reach's mechanics were alright, but Halo 4 definitely improved upon them. Now, I don't give a shit about what people say about sprint being at default. I mean, come on, every single game almost has this mechanic by now, and really, to say Halo 4 doesn't deserve it is a complete and utter stupid reason to hate on the game. And honestly, I think it's alright that sprint was made default in this game. So yeah, suck it on all the sprint haters of this game. But, and also there's the fact that you can also aim down sights, and if you get hit, it doesn't, like, go back to non-scope, like in the other Halo games. But other than that, the mechanics in this game were definitely improved upon from Halo Reach. The armor abilities were pretty damn cool, actually, especially since there's now no armor lock, which thank God, especially since it's been replaced by a much better armor ability, which is Hard Light Shield, which is actually pretty good. And I really did like the armor abilities in this game. And yes, there is the grenade indicator in this game now, but honestly, I can't really give two shits about what people say about it. But I will say the mechanics in this game were most certainly improved upon it. They were felt a lot more fairer than Halo Reach's mechanics. It's like, because when it came to multiplayer, the mechanics that they used for the Spartan, the abilities that you could use, I think were a lot more fairer, instead of being overpowered to hell like Halo Reach, where it came to the where armor lock was just constantly spammed like a pain in the ass. So the mechanics in this game were certainly improved upon from Halo Reach, and I gotta give congrats to FIFA 3 being able to improve upon the mechanics of this game, because yeah, the armor abilities was a cool mechanic that was introduced in Halo Reach, but I'm surprised they were able to improve upon them in this game, and they actually did a good job of it. Now, another thing Halo 4 definitely got right was the soundtrack. Now, a lot of people say the soundtrack was not as good in this game compared to the other Halos. To me, I think it was actually really good, and the main thing why people say it's not as decent is because it doesn't have as much of the older classical music that the previous Halos had in this game. People need to get this straight. This is supposed to be the beginning of a new chapter in the story, so it would make sense for it to have more different music. And honestly, this music was actually pretty decent. It actually fitted very well for when it came in the missions, and most of it was actually pretty good. It felt Halo-ish. It still felt like a Halo game, did the music, and I liked the music for that. So there was a lot of pieces that I did like. There was like a Arrival, Awakening, the Mantis soundtrack. There was a few others. Revival, that was a pretty damn good one. There was a lot of soundtracks in this game that were actually pretty good to listen to, and they always came in more or less at the right time. Though I will say there was some bits in the game where it could have had some music to help tone the mood, and it just felt really weird killing enemies without any music. But most of all, the soundtrack in Halo 4 was done very well, and I liked it. It was certainly a lot more better than what Halo 5 Guardians offered. And I mean, the music in that was alright, but could have been done better. So Halo 4, it did have some very decent music, I will say.
Contacts.
Now, one of the final things that Halo 4 did right was the Prometheans. Now, the FIFA 3 had the difficult job of introducing a new enemy in an aging franchise, and honestly, I think they did a pretty damn good job of it, because the Prometheans were actually pretty fun to fight. well, yes, they can be annoying to fight, but it's more or less a good annoying. It's like they annoy you to a point. They annoy you, but you do have fun fighting them. It's not the getting pissed off annoying type where it's like they'll continuously kill you over and over until you rage quit. It's not like that. Now, I certainly did like the Prometheans. Now, there was only 3 types: crawlers, watchers, and knights, but it was a nice variety to each of the types. So, and I certainly did like how the Prometheans worked. Even though how the Prometheans worked would be in a more annoying sense, really, because knights was such a pain in the arse every time they teleport away when they're almost dead, and watchers are just a complete pain in the arse because they can bring the knights back to life or spawn in more crawlers, and even are able to create turrets, which is also a more annoying thing. Watchers are practically the most annoying enemy of the entire Halo franchise now, I would say, because of the beneficial necessity they give to the enemy. But overall, I'd say the Prometheans are a nicely added addition of enemies to the Halo franchise, because sure, they're not as decent as the Covenant, but it's certainly a lot more tougher. And if you're trying to make an enemy that's more tougher than the Covenant, they pretty much got it bang on, I'd say. And the Prometheans can be pretty smart too with how they fight. So it's always best to have a special weapon around to take care of them. So these are the main things to me that Halo 4 did right. And hopefully it's not pissed you guys too much about what they are. Hopefully not. So leave a comment down below of what you think of my reasons here, and give reasons of what you think the game did right. And leave a like down below, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next random video.